You loved art as far back as you can remember, and so kind of tell us.
Wait. Start over. It didn't go live. Now go. Sorry.
Good morning and welcome to The Way. This morning we have Bonnie Mays with us. She is the communications director at Pathway, and then Paul came back to join us this weekend. I'm hoping it might be a permanent join, but we'll see.
Well, good morning. We're still in negotiations.
We
on
are
that, but
heavy negotiations. So. And then Bonnie came to us. She had, I think, a very successful event this last weekend. And I've kind of asked her to come on and kind of share her story with us and how she kind of discovered she loved art and kind of what that's taken and done for her in her life and kind of how you got to last weekend.
Yeah, no pressure. So I was an artist as young as I can remember. I mean, my grandparents would set me up in their kitchen with, paper and pen and pencils and crayons and all kinds of things. And my grandparents both were painters, so I guess it kind of came naturally for me. I took all of the art classes I could, private and at school. You know, Burleson ISD had a great art program. They still do. So I just kind of let it flourish from there. And it just, I actually had a art teacher on Camp Bowie when I was growing up who was colorblind. She could only see shades of gray, but she had this amazing artwork in a gallery that she allowed me to come and do private lessons. And we had a gallery night there, and that just kind of lit a fire in my heart for art. And it was really cool to see these adult artists teaching and mentoring me as a young artist.
So art to you means what? Because there's art in so many different formats. So what's your medium?
What isn't art?
Is that what they say is what is your medium, or what do you like to do?
I do a little bit of everything. I like to draw and paint. Acrylic on canvas is really what I do a lot of, but I also use a lot of mixed medium. So whatever I can find that I can stick on a canvas is what I'm gonna use.
What do you gravitate? Do you gravitate to portraits or landscapes, or what do you?
Well, part of my story is that for 15 years I didn't pick up a brush. I didn't pick up a paintbrush. I don't know why. It just nothing ever occurred to me that I need to. It's part of my therapy. It's part of who I am. And to step away for that long has really challenged me in that now I'm painting again and I don't know what I'm painting. It just whatever I can think of. Right now it's a lot of landscapes that are different, reverse colors. Like there's hot pink skies and orange skies and instead of blue, and lots of Texas nature that I've been painting recently. So.
Do you want to share why you didn't paint for 15 years, or part of why you didn't paint for 15 years?
I think it was a lot of just life got in the way. I think I grew up into something I was comfortable in. I was comfortable in just going to work and doing my routine and being creative at work. I'm also a graphic designer, so a lot of that outlet was there for me creatively to do design and just be an artist in that way. So I stepped away from the easel, I guess, so to speak, for a while.
So tell us about your event. I mean, how long did you think about? And you can jump in, Paul, and ask questions anytime. Okay. So tell us about your event. Paul and I came, and It was such a beautiful evening. We walked around and visited the artists. So when did that kind of start, that passion and that idea?
Well, a few months ago, I was just kind of hanging out, looking out, scrolling, like people do. So somebody said, "Oh, I wish Burleson would have an art gallery or, an art event." And I said, you know what? It's been on my heart for to do something like this. So I ran with it, and I just started emailing the right people, I guess. So it came along, and everything got planned. We were shooting for 6 artists, and the first one was going to be in May, and we got rained out, We had 18 artists. We were working with the Burleson ISD with the art department, and of course now that we had to reschedule, they had to, they kind of scatter after summer starts. So we ended up with 14 artists, and I saw so many new faces out here. I'm not here all the time, but I saw lots of people that I knew and some that I didn't, and some that were really excited to come out and enjoy the local artists that we have in Burleson.
Bonnie, did you display any of your work as well?
Oh, no, that's a question I've gotten a lot. And my 10-year-old son was like, "Mom, you have to put your paintings out too." And I was like, "No, I don't think I'm ready just yet.
Really?
Yeah.
For public?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have an
You-
Instagram page, so I do put them out there, but not, I mean, there's like 71 people that follow me so far, so just a little.
Sounds like a challenge for next year's art
Yes,
walk.
Yeah,
I think so too. But I know our son was in art for I don't know how many years, but
Several years.
Yeah, I mean his career. He went on to be architecture and design
Oh, wow.
and landscape design. But it started in art class and the things that he made, but he never wanted to display them. So we have little bitty artwork from him for Father's Day. I think you've gotten a couple of things.
He does
from him.
miniature.
Yeah, that for us.
Those
But,
are so fun.
you know, I think, you know, whenever you do something, you think you do it, and it's kind of like for me with this show, and I've been hearing about how many people are touched by this show, and it's crazy to think somebody would see that as a benefit, what we have to say,
Mhm.
and probably it's maybe the same thing with your artwork. You see it critically,
Always.
and that nobody will like it, and everybody else may really want to enjoy that. So, yeah, I like that challenge for next year, because I'm sure we're going to have another one next year, right?
I hope so.
Okay. And then you'll have your own booth. You'll have to, you know, your son can man your booth. He'll sell your art.
Oh, goodness.
He's a
Yes.
hoot. He's going to be in 6th grade this next year. That's
Yeah.
so crazy. But, so I know that we walked away with a very, very exclusive piece of art. It was made just for us. It was a unicorn.
Made to order.
Yes, with
Mhm.
pinks and purples for our granddaughter. So they love the unicorn. So, but it was an artist, and he was it here in this corner? No, that corner
It
down
was
there.
in the alleyway.
Yeah, and he looked homeless
he's-
to me.
He's very unique in that he wears his artwork. His name is Cosmo. He is amazing. He has a great story. He will tell you all about it, of course. He's never met a stranger, I don't think. He told us a story about how he came along and he just followed. Everybody has God-given gifts, and that he just followed that path of art, and it's taken him so many different places. He's actually been the NASA he's like the artist for NASA. He's been doing their events for the past few years, so he has all these pictures he'll show you of him and astronauts.
That's so
And
awesome.
he just really loves to talk
And it
to
was
people
all
and
spray
share his
paint.
art.
I mean, it was layers of spray paint. It was fire. I mean, I asked him, well, what's with the fire, and it's a quick dry. So if I would to do spray paint and fire, there would be things on fire that shouldn't be on fire. But I mean, it was very impressive.
I think he's had lots of practice.
Yeah, but the layering of the colors, and then how he used plastic bags, and he used, I guess, some probably stiff boards where he would drag it and bring out all the color underneath the layering. I mean, it was
In
very,
just a matter of moments,
Yeah.
too. He did hours in 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And
And I took it away from another little girl. She wanted it, and I was like, but I ordered that.
and very reasonably priced.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and I don't even know, it was hot that day. He wears goggles and he wears a mask. He has to, because I mean, our car smelled like spray paint for several days. But I mean, I know that the fumes of that's pretty strong. But it was a remarkable time. I also visited with Terry Lynn. She had a little booth down there by Accents, and she painted a cow. It was so cute, but we didn't have room for a cow at our house. So, but I liked her stuff too. So we went and visited several. But I'm very proud of you. I'm glad that you stepped out and did that and started that, because I think Burleson has a lot of great things going on, and I appreciate you doing that. And so,
Thank you.
before I went to your art show, I went to the women's conference that we had down in Joshua, the Hope Conference.
Yes.
And there was a lady that spoke. Her name was Jan Adderholt. I had not met her before. And she talked about revival and seeing, or her vision is seeing God moving in our communities. And I can say that I really felt proud to be part of Burleson that night that we walked around here, because it's very walkable. People are very friendly. Things going on. It was
Family oriented.
It was. We went to we ate really quick. We got in the restaurant pretty quickly, but it was early, 5:30, and then we walked around afterwards some more. And I just really enjoy seeing people in Burleson being around, and so I appreciate that. But she also spoke about freedom, and I meant to email you this, I apologize, I didn't. But John 8:31, 32, and 36, it says, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And then verse 36 says, so if the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. So has painting kind of been an outlet for you through life? I mean, normal teenage stuff. Has it kind of given you some freedoms that maybe you've been able to use that as a way to express yourself when maybe you weren't able to with words or whatever, at the time?
Absolutely. I think painting is a therapy for anybody, and it can be, especially when I was a young teenage girl, dealing with all the teenage stuff that you deal with.
Fun times.
Wow, some of the paintings that I have from that time, you could really tell that there was some things going on in my life that maybe I wasn't sharing with anybody, and maybe
It's a way to express yourself
Absolutely.
without words.
Absolutely. Even now, as a 36-year-old, I'm finding myself that, in leadership positions and all the things of parenting and family life, that's really a release to let go of whatever it is I'm holding on to, So, yeah, absolutely.
Holding on is never the right choice, but we do that a lot as humans. So, and then on the conference with the freedom was talking about things that are holding us hostage. Is there things that you've noticed in your life, and maybe you too, Paul, that are now recognizing that you can kind of look back and say, these things are holding me hostage, and it may even be kind of like fear of showing off your artwork or fear of something else. So is there some things you want to speak into that? Or maybe that you feel might still be holding you captive?
Well, sometimes just bad thoughts that are maybe even from the evil one that hold us captive, that we gravitate to because we're more familiar with them. And I had one for a long time that I worked for one company for decades and thought that was going to last me until I was ready to quit, and it was under my terms, and it didn't work out that way. And there was a gap time that during that gap time it seemed forever. It seemed like it's been 9 months. This is the end of the world. This is really starting to consume me. And then as God opened up an opportunity that I didn't see, it quickly became, that was only 9 months. So what did I learn, and what did I get from that? Because it was an opportunity to grow. And we go through that in life, where we have those opportunities in those periods where God is using us to take us from one place to another. And the thing is, we don't always see that. Those around us can see it much easier than we can. And so it was probably some fear in there and some other things. But yeah, I definitely have learned that over the last few months.
You and Bonnie are now working together.
That's true. We are. We're on the same team.
You are
for
on
the same mission.
team.
Yeah.
God's mission, right?
We just have different skills.
Yes. Well, that's kind of talking about, I think with you, Paul, we've been together for 15 years, and I know a lot of what your talents and your skills are. And with Pathway, there was, I think, a need, especially kind of with what is going on with some projects and things, that you are able to use your skills and your talents and use that rather than in the secular world, more toward God and his building his eternal kingdom, which is what we're called to do and focus on. But we get so bogged down sometimes in the world and what the world tells us we need to be doing with our time and what we need to be doing with our life, and that money and career, and you gotta keep escalating up that ladder. But at what point do you stop climbing that ladder? It's a perpetual climb all the time. So being able to stop And I think God kind of just made you stop to kind of look at things and see things.
Well, and sometimes when we don't do that on our own, he has to change the circumstances for us.
That's right.
Yes. That chair, yeah. Okay.
I think that's perfect. I mean, and all the things that I've ever done has always led me up to this point. And it's a story that you can tell, and that he is working through you in everything, even in the secular world or whatever. You know, I was an artist always, but I knew something was calling me to do something bigger than that. And I never stopped looking for something else to do, to go move forward to. And just being at Pathway the past 4 or 5 years, I have grown so much. Like, this would have never happened. Like, I would have never thought about, oh yeah, I'll do the radio. That's fine. But, you know, this is my second time on, and I just love it. It's been a blessing to me, and hopefully to people in the community.
Yeah, I like people's looks on their face when I ask them if they want to come be on my show.
That's always fun.
Because I'm sure it's the same look I had on my face when I was tackled right outside this building. it's an inside joke. But anyway, so when, you know, you kind of alluded to this, Paul, with, you know, Satan and him kind of, when we decide, yes, we want to do something for God, Satan doesn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Bonnie, when you started this, did you come up against some obstacles? Obviously the rain, and did you get discouraged with that? Did you say, nope, we're going to push through, we're going to redo this, or did
Let me tell you about the rain.
Okay.
So the rain happened, and the day before, I don't remember what I was doing the day before, but the day of, when the rain came, I was so sick. I have an autoimmune disease, so I have lots of problems, you know, getting out of bed sometimes, or joint pain. But that day I was just sick. It was like I had the flu. So the rain was a blessing in disguise. Wow. Because I don't think I would have been able to function the whole day and successfully serve the artists in the community that day. It was terrible, but it all worked out. It's his timing, not mine.
Right. So is that something that you've always kind of looked at, or is that something that you've kind of grown into with your journey, is knowing and recognizing God's timing, God's way, not our way, or is that something fairly new for you?
It is. In the last 4 or 5 years, it's come to show itself so much more than I've ever known. Like, I can look back now, and like I said before, like, it's all something that was working up to a greater story, to his story, for me, for my life.
Well, I'm going to ask you if you just share something. I don't know if you will feel comfortable, or just real briefly maybe, because it kind of goes into what Rick's message on Colossians. I did Colossians 1:3. We always thank God the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ when we pray for you, because we have heard of your faith in Christ Jesus and of the love you have for all God's people. So one of the questions on our life test was, how do others respond when they experience your faith and your love? And I think you shared with me that you were kind of the first one to go to church. Mm-hmm. And kind of then who followed you when you kind of decided that? Because I think this is key for a lot of young people. Don't think they make a difference, maybe. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think this speaks into how you made a difference with your family.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in the church, but not going to church. So I grew up going with my friends, my mom, and I was actually baptized at St. Luke in Fort Worth, which is also Cumberland Presbyterian Church. Anyways, so once I was married the first time with my ex-husband, we stopped going to church as soon as we were married, and I didn't step foot back in a church for a long time. My son was 3 after my husband now, and he's now 10. Oh my goodness. So when he was like 3 years old, I just knew there was something different that was calling us, that we had to do different with our lives. And I didn't know what that was. I didn't know where to go to find it. But going back to church just came on my heart, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll figure it out. So we decided to go check out a couple churches. We actually only checked out one, and it was Pathway. And it just changed the whole, I thought I was going for my son, and it ended up because I needed God in my heart. I needed that in my life for life change for my whole family, and that's exactly what happened, like what you're talking about. I started going to church, and I invited my mom, and then my mom and my dad started coming, and then my husband started coming to church after years and years of not. So it's just a family legacy. It changed our whole lives. Everything that we do, everything, you know, not to say that we don't have trouble in our life, because life is still life. But God has just worked so much on our hearts and our family that it's changed everything.
And I'll speak into, we came to Pathway, or I did, with my daughter and family years ago. I guess it's been 1996, and it was Tanner, Courtney's one, ended up being one of Courtney's best friends through school, and she invited Courtney to come to church, and then we followed. So, you know, the kids, we hear that sometimes with, you know, Rick talks about that, you know, through baseball or different things, kids, if they want to go, and let them go and invite their family, it can change your whole family legacy. And Paul and Bonnie both, did you ever think when you started going to Pathway that you'd one day work there?
No.
So yeah, so God's plan, you know, he starts long back, and then he weaves his way, and then we end up where we are. And, you know, Bonnie, I know that I've done a lot of things through Pathway over all the years, and your talent brought us to a different level with the media and the things that we do with your, I mean, I've seen the things you do, and it's like, oh wow, I want to be like you. Because I wouldn't call myself an artist. Yeah, I'm not really consider myself an artist, but I'm an artist, maybe want to be. So I love graphics, I love creating things. I use all kinds, I like to sew, I like to paint, I like to build. I need a shop, but I don't have one. So
Someday.
Yeah, I envision furniture and things in my head, and then I can't find it, so then I have to either modify or make it. So, but that's kind of, I enjoy doing things or repurposing things, like taking it and seeing something completely different in it and then redoing it, and it's on my wall. So, you know, almost everything in our house was originally something else, I think, at some point in time.
That's awesome.
And
And
it's kind
some
of
of
been
us the same way.
I may have had a little project for the last 15 years. Is it for the better or for the worse? Let me ask.
It's an improvement.
Okay. We just added a little spice to your gray,
It's a work in
blue,
progress.
and khaki light.
Oh, it's like accepting Jesus. That is instant, and you accept Jesus into your heart. But transformation takes years. It's a process, and it's going from one place to another with Him in mind, seeking His face, and getting to where He has planned all along, even before we were born.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people talk about their purpose, and I was listening to radio, because I listen to Christian talk radio on the way in, and I think a lot of time we pray for our purpose, but we already have an idea of what we may want our purpose to be. So when God says, will you be on the radio and have a radio show, you're like, wait a minute, that's not in my plan. That's not what I want to do. That's not my talent. That's not my gift. And yet everybody's telling me, oh, you're great at it. You're perfect. I'm like, what? So, you know, God's way, and I just think he has a great sense of humor myself.
God has jokes.
So, yeah. But, you know, I think my life is so much richer when I trust him and not trust my own ability. Because my ability is very limited, and God's very unlimited. And I'm not a thrill seeker, but I do love a good journey. I don't like something so mapped out and planned out that it's just, I like a good plan, but then I don't mind deviating from my plan. So, you know, I just like how God just moves us and takes us to places. If we just say yes, and we just say yes, and I trust you.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think that's where we live into the heaven on earth, is really when we're doing things that's for him, and it's seeing him come through us and work through us. So I think we're going to take a real quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some upcoming events at Pathway, and kind of see where we go with that.
Awesome.
And I don't give her any warning when sorry. I guess next time I need to give her like the 5. She gives us 5 minutes or 5 seconds. I need to give her the warning.
It's all good.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-93.
Got a dead carpet giving me the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the floor store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is old Taco Joe coming to you for the floor store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the floor store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The floor store, they've got you covered.
Welcome back to The Way with Bonnie and Paul. And we had somebody comment, I just noticed it was a friend of ours, Amber, and she said the evil one is so good at showing us fear, and that if, I can't say, fear, and that it sometimes blinds us to see what God has in store for us. And it's just a step of faith He is wanting us to take. So I think that we are called to step out in faith, and sometimes it's not very easy. So I want to go into some upcoming...
Thank you, Amber.
Yeah, thanks, Amber. We've got, and I know you didn't give it to me, and I know it's already booked in full, but next week is Camp in the City with Pine Cove coming to Pathway. And I just want to say, all you parents and grandparents out there, if your kids have not done that, and it's going into kindergarten and up to 6th grade, I believe. For
entering into sixth grade.
And it is great. My 2 granddaughters are going, and our grandson went for years, and we're going to be hosting for the 2nd time this year, and so that was kind of a step out for us when we said yes to that, but we were so blessed. And I think we may even have one returning counselors come back and stay with us, because I've been in touch with her all year through
that's awesome.
Facebook. Yeah. And watching her go, and she graduated college, and I can't wait to hear about her next adventure in her life, and what all she's doing with that. And so I know we've also got some other summer camps coming. We've got June 28th through July 2nd is the next one. Registration closed June 16th, so that's coming up this week, isn't it? That's Saturday?
Yeah, and that's youth
Sunday.
camp. That's
Sunday.
for students that are entering 6th grade. Family Ministries is gonna
Yes, we're
slap
so
my
good
hand.
at this, yes.
but it's for our youth age kids. So they're going to go to
5th
Oklahoma
grade
for
to graduates.
Mhm.
Yep. And they're going to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
And I think there's going to be a new camp this
Yeah, it's a
year.
new camp.
Yeah, in
That
Cheyenne.
looks really fun.
It's going to be, are you going?
I'm not going
You're
this
not
year.
going this- okay.
No,
Is Gunnar going?
no, he's not
Oh,
going
he's
this
not
year.
going?
No,
Okay.
I wish we could.
So, and I know that Courtney, my daughter, she went all the way up to after she even graduated high school. You get to go back that summer after you graduate high school, and she went back, and so I know that meant a lot to her, and she really enjoyed it. So her son will be going for the first time this year, so
Oh,
that's going to be
wow.
exciting
She
for us.
probably wishes she was going with him.
She may, yeah.
Hey, we need servants. Sign up to serve.
And then we have also coming up this Saturday is our golf tournament. And I don't know how many years y'all have had this, but it's been quite a few years because I know I've helped out with it for years. And it's going to be at Southern Oaks Golf Course. And it's, when is the last they can sign up for that?
Well,
This is what you sent me. I don't know if it said anything about.
6/11. So
6/11,
on the
okay.
le- That's today.
today.
That is
But unless
today.
it's not full, which I'm not sure. I know we have a lot of last minute golfers signing up. So
So if y'all are interested in playing golf out at Southern Oaks on Saturday, just give them a call at Pathway, and they will, or you can go online to their
Pathway.church.
Pathway.church and look under events.
yeah, just search, use the search bar
search
and
bar,
say
put
golf.
Golf,
and
and
it'll take you
it'll
there.
come up. Yes, and you'll see some of Bonnie's great artwork on that page, I'm sure. And then after that is family camp. Now, we've served several years at family camp. That's kind of new for Pathway. I think this will be our third or fourth year to do family camp. So I know you and your family have
Yep.
participated in that. So my kids are all grown, so I'm hoping they'll bring their families now. But why don't you speak and tell us what that's about?
Yeah, so family camp a few years ago, we decided to stop doing VBS, and in lieu of VBS, we were going to do a family camp, which is camp for the whole family. It's in the evenings. It's just like the same VBS vibe, I guess, for the kids. But what happens is that mom, dad, grandparents, they all join in on the fun. And what we do is we have a speaker that comes in that's just for the adults. So the kids are doing something different, and a mom and dad are getting fed as well. And lots of great information about what's happening in the world, technology and your kids, and how that looks in the family life and dynamic as far as monitoring it and all those types of things. They learn from a speaker. It's actually Jonathan McKee this year, and kids will have Bible study, and they'll go in to do crafts and fun games and stuff like that. And then at the end of the week, we have a family fun day, and that's where we have the blow ups and water games and all kinds of games for adults. Cornhole and some other things. That's just a lot of fun. You get to meet new families too when you're coming in. If you maybe be new to the area, you can come in and you can just meet anybody. And we're going to sit at a family style dinner every night, and we'll be served dinner, and just it's a lot of fun.
It seems like y'all have had a really good success with it because it seems packed every time that we go and we serve food when we volunteer
Well,
for
it
that.
is unique, and it's,
It is.
rather than just dropping off kids, like Bonnie was talking about, the parents are involved and engaged and have the opportunity to learn along with them and develop new friendships and engage with other parents who are struggling and working through life and facing the same things that parents are facing.
Yeah, part of our goal is at Pathway with our family ministry team is that we have your kids for a short time each week. So when you go home, we want to equip you with the tools that you need to really let your family grow their faith.
Right.
So,
And so, what age is too young, or infants? Do they all have daycare for the infants or night care? I guess.
I believe so. It's just like regular
Kid
our
care.
regular church.
Kid
Yeah,
care,
kid
there you
care
go.
for- yeah.
So kids don't have to be a certain age to come. It's families
Yeah.
and bring your kids.
The whole family is
and-
welcome.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, and they get T-shirts if they want to.
If they
for
register
purchase.
now,
Okay.
we can have order T-shirts too.
It's so fun, yeah, and that's going to be Sunday, July 21st through the 24th from 6 to 8:30. So again, if you're interested, you can go online to pathway.church, and I guess you would just search family camp, and all the information, and you can register online there.
That's correct.
Is there anything else going on? At
Pretty obvious
Pathway?
that summer does not slow down in some places. Like
think
at
it ramps
Pathway.
up.
It's ramping up. There's a lot
Yes.
of great activities coming up.
That's true.
I know our kids area has grown so much over the years, and there's so much going on for the kids there at Pathway. And on Sunday, our granddaughters love going and being part of you know, whatever they have going on for the kids while we're in service, or she even sat in service with us. So, is there anything else that you can talk to us about what's going on at Pathway, or?
Well, like the middle of Old Town right now, it's construction zone. So, actually, I wanted to mention that too. The art walk, even with the construction, wow, we had so many families just walking around. It was awesome.
Yes.
But we also have some construction happening at Pathway where our students area is getting revamped, and
Oh, wow.
I'm really excited about it. I know that Paul probably knows a little bit more than I do as far as how it's going, but
Oh, it's going well, and it's a summer-long project to give the classrooms for the youth a facelift. Those classrooms are a little bit dated, and so we have the opportunity to refreshen them and make them a little bit better and more functional for the use, along with not only looking better, but look at sound and technologies and updating some things there. And we have an indoor walking track that is open to the public, and that eventually will be resurfaced. It'll be later this summer before that occurs, but yeah, we've got some good things happening on campus that will be a benefit and a blessing to those that get to enjoy it.
Well, awesome. So, why don't we just finish out the conversation with what can you say, Bonnie, has been so meaningful to you through your journey with art, I know you worked in the rural world. I haven't heard it. I don't know how to say it before.
Business world.
Business world, and then coming to Pathway and working there. What is really just kind of been the best of that journey for you?
I think the best has been the relationships that I've formed over the years that really helped me grow in my gifts, but also in my faith and my knowledge of how I can grow relationships outside of that. So I just feel like everything that I've ever done leading, like I said before, it just led up to this. And I know now that I'm really using my gifts the way they're supposed to be, and I can still continue to grow, like not knowing before what I could do, and now I can share. And my son he has an interest in the arts, and he's appreciated the artwork that he saw this weekend, and I'm very thankful for that part, for sure.
Right. What about you, Paul?
Well, I think I've learned that there are things that are lasting that are more important than the things you think sometimes are lasting. The business world is defined by things that really don't last and really are not. You think they're important at the time, but they're really not. And there have been some pretty good. Our pastor teaches aha moments in life that help you to understand what's really important. And I think I'm in that place right now where I'm reevaluating some things that are more lasting, that are more meaningful, generational maybe even, than what I thought. Priority shift, maybe you could call it, something like that, that is all good, and continuing to learn and realize that you can if you've listened to the entire program this morning, you can tell that some churches like Pathway are very focused on family growth and family development, and is generational, and as Bonnie has experienced and we've experienced, it's impactful. Sometimes our kids resist, or our grandkids might resist, and sometimes they're all in. Whatever it may be, that there is a responsibility that we have to share the gospel and to bring that to people who do not believe or have not been exposed to it.
Well, and living a life for God is definitely different than living a life for ourselves in the world, and with the world telling us what to do, because I think Satan uses that to speak into fears, and I think that we have so many hidden fears that we probably don't even know we really have. I mean, you know, fear of spider, our granddaughter is afraid of the thunder. That, you know, it's going to come get her. I'm like, well, thunder's not going to do anything. Lightning might, but thunder won't. But it's the loudest, so it's the most fearful. So, but I had also, I think, in here from the women's talk was, you know, aha moments, and taking captive every thought we have and saying that I'm no longer going to let something that happened in my past or a fear that I have keep me from experiencing God's promises today. And I think we do that. I think that we live into our fears so easily rather than living into what God is want for us. And He doesn't want us to fear. He doesn't want us to step out every day in fear and shame or guilt or whatever it is that we might be feeling. So I just think that I'm hoping that that's something with this show that we can actually use it for hearing other people's journeys, struggles, so we know that we're not alone. A lot of times in our fear and our things that we experience, we just think we're all by ourselves. We're on an island. No one else has ever felt this before. I don't know where to turn. I don't know who to go to. But yet, yes, you do have someone to turn to.
You know, sometimes it's not even fear. Is a few weeks ago, you had given me a challenge and an assignment, and it was this. It was write down your dreams and just think big and write down your dreams. And when I began to do that, my business mind started processing, and I started developing these plans. And so I easily wrote down, well, here are these tasks I can do. And then as I looked at the list, I thought, well, that's just a to-do list. There's nothing dreamy about that. And I realized I hadn't used imagination. It's in there somewhere, and for an artist, I think it's easier. It's just something that you're born with, and it's easier to do. And then I have it. I just suppressed it or haven't used it. And how great a lesson it was that you can dream and you can put anything down on paper. You can go anywhere you want to go. And I was doing the norm, and I was doing controlled things and things that I knew were achievable. And I looked at it and I thought, this is not really worth repeating. So I just tore it up. I still need to do that list again and see if I can dream. But
You need to spend more time with Aubrey.
she is a dreamer and imagination. If we could do that like we did as a child and just think outside our normal boundaries that we set for ourselves.
We have a granddaughter, and she has a huge imagination, and she has imaginary brothers and sisters and dogs and the dog's dog, and she has names for all these people. And I heard her, they spent the night with us, her and her little sister, and she went into Paul, and she's like, I'm going to have a conversation with you. And she just starts talking, and I hear her talking about her brother, which she doesn't have a brother.
She wanted to hang out with me, and I was in there reading, and she just came in, and it wasn't a question, it was more of a statement, and she plopped down and began. But,
and has this long conversation about things that don't even exist, and it's just so funny. And
it was nonstop.
yeah, and I just kind of I roll with her and ask her questions, and I even said, hey, where's Robodog? We haven't heard about Robodog in forever. And I forgot what she said, but she was like, oh, yeah. Like she was like, oh, I forgot too. I had a Robodog. So that was the name of her dog.
Wow.
And sometimes Robodog's little, sometimes Robodog's big. We just never know what size he'll be. But so yeah, dreaming is a great thing to do. I had some great dreams the other day and shared with Paul, and it just all kind of comes to me, and seems like it's easy, but I guess it's not. Everybody has that big imagination. So I guess I know where Aubrey kind of got it from. But, so anyway, we hope that we helped you today with maybe something that maybe is a passion of yours that you can turn into something that other people can enjoy from your passion. Are you allowing Satan to maybe speak into your passion more than allowing God and trusting Him to step out in faith in something that will not only bring pleasure to yourself, but bring pleasure to our community and bring more people in to share that with you? So if we appreciate you coming out.
Any teaser for next week? next week's program?
Well, I haven't got okays yet, so yeah. So
Okay.
hopefully I need to get better at posting what's going to be
The
happening.
teaser is in
so-
stay tuned and you'll
Yeah,
find
stay
out.
tuned. So, they haven't got the call yet, so I got to make the call. So yeah, I need to get that lined up. But I appreciate you coming on, Bonnie, and sharing your story.
Thank you.
I know
Thank
it's
you for
not
having me.
it's always easy for people to step out, so I appreciate that. And thank you again, Paul. And I guess
You're
you'll be
welcome.
here next week too, because you have gotten the call. I've already called you, so we'll see you next week. And have a great week. And we hope you enjoy your time with God this week.